Test. Oh, there we go. I just need to get a bit closer. Thank you. Welcome everybody to our panel here on Host a Charity Stream. My name is Darren Straightjacket Jim McNeil. Either of those names I will answer to. I've answered to a lot worse in my time. But we're here today to talk to you about how to host a charity stream, and we've got a few different people on the panel, so we'll just go down this way. If Stormie, if you'd like to start, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Bianca, but I go by Stormie online, and I'm here also as a part of Game & Oz. We do the weekly show together, and I also stream 3 times a week, and charity streams have always been something that's been a big part of my streaming journey, and that's why I'm sitting here with everyone here today.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma. I'm here from Movember. I work in community engagement. Julian to my left.
Hello.
And we're here today very excited to learn from you guys as well, but also talk from a charity point of view as to why streaming is a huge new landscape for us.
Yeah, I'll pass on to you. Treatment. Hi everyone, my name is Shane Bailey. I work at Cure Cancer as head of gaming. Before I joined the team about a year ago this week actually, I was at Ubisoft Australia. I worked in a variety of different marketing and communications roles, so this is not my first PAX. Now our organisation funds early career cancer researchers, and I engage the gaming community to help fund as much research as we can. And excited to have you guys here. Excited to join the panel.
Hey guys, my name's Jake. I'm an associate producer for Wargaming, working on World of Tanks, which probably sounds like a bit of a red herring on a charity panel. But we've done quite a bit of work actually with Movember and Game on Cancer over the past. We've raised about $100,000 over the past couple of years on a variety of not only charity activations but also historical restoration projects as well. So hoping to offer a bit of wisdom from a publisher's perspective and how you can incorporate gaming and that kind of thing.
Let's go, King Cow.
So I think we've got a good cross section here of people that do the stream and also from the charity's point of view, because I think when you start to talk about planning your charity stream, who you're going to go to as a charity. So glad to have everybody here, and can't wait to get stuck into this. So one of the things that you'll go through when you're looking to plan out a charity and stream is in the planning stage. So the very first thing is how you choose a charity. And for me, when I've done charity streams in the past, I've done one for Movember and one for Greater Shade for a Cure as well. I feel like you have to make it fairly personal. Like if you've got that personal connection to it, like with Cure Cancer, my mum had not long gone into remission with cancer, so it was a logical thing. And I also had long hair at that point, so it felt like a really good time to cut it all off anyway. And Movember as well is it's such a good cause, like from the men's health side of things with the prostate cancer, but the mental health especially. I'm big on mental health for everybody. So, Stormie, how did you go about choosing your charity partners?
A charity stream that I've done every year since I've started is for Starlight Children's Foundation Australia. I had a very short but scary experience when I was about 8. I was just like running around like a normal kid, and literally one day I couldn't walk, and it was like a really rare virus that I picked up, and I was in a wheelchair for, at the time, we didn't know how long it was going to be. And in the short time that I was at Princess Margaret Hospital, we're from Perth, that's my first experience with the Starlight room that they had in the hospital. And even though my time there was really short, the impact it had on me from like the staff and the people who looked after not just me, but like now, like almost 25, like, and knowing how scary that would have been for my parents and the support that I received, that was so special. And I always knew that like if I was going to start streaming, I wanted to do good with it. So that for me naturally was my first pick. And in the last 3 years, we've now raised I think it's over, I want to say $5,000 to $7,000 now in total. And then also, like you said, personal connections as well. I did the Sony Foundation's You Can Stay program, I think last year. And then most recently did Are You OK as well. Of course, mental health is really important, and it was something very close to me personally that I wanted to choose. So yeah, I think when you have that genuine connection to organisation or a charity, it really shows very naturally when you stream as well. Not to say that you necessarily have to have a very personal connection to choose a charity to work for. I think any work you do is good work. But yeah, those are the why I chose those three.
And I think that's also an important thing to stress. Like we talk about the money that we raise, but anything is great. Like it just shows that you're being involved in a charity and wanting to give back. But Jake, how did Wargaming come to be involved with Game on Cancer and Cure Cancer?
Yeah. So I think just to kind of add to what Stormie says, like there definitely is a lot of value in establishing or having an emotional connection with the charity you're working with. Like it just adds to the authenticity of your message. If you're just kind of like selling a charity purely for the sake of it or because you feel like you have to or something like that, it definitely comes across in your stream, in your tone of voice, in your content and stuff like that. For us, World of Tanks is, you've heard about the game, there's a good chance you've probably heard about it from your dad or your granddad, because that's usually the audience that we've got playing it. But there's a big connection there, obviously, naturally, with we have a lot of association with cancer in our community, not only parents or relatives, but some of our players as well. So there was a really natural connection. We've actually had players for years asking us about charities, doing cancer stuff like that. We've got clans dedicated to sort of like cancer support groups, survivors, or those who have suffered from it. So Game on Cancer, and when we worked with Movember as well, that was a really sort of like natural fit for our community. The only thing that I would kind of add to that as well is cancers and mental health are obviously such fantastic causes to support. But at the same time, there is always going to be sort of like every other week there's a cancer activation or a charity thing. So you really want to make sure that you're leveraging sort of as much hype around these things. Stormie mentioned Starlight, who do like seasonal activations, and Game on Cancer, when we collaborated with them, it was around their superheroes month. Obviously, there's like greater shaves and all that kind of stuff. So being able to leverage a sort of like a community fundraising event, because there's already sort of like conversation around it happening at that time, is a really good thing to do. The only other is our most successful charity fundraising event was actually for I believe it was the 2019 or 2020.
Give me your questions and I'll ask them.
Went to Australia. We worked with Blaze Aid, who was a really good charity who helped basically repair sort of like rural fencing and stuff in the areas that were ravaged by the bushfires. So another element as well is, I hate to kind of say it, but like if there is an event that is trending, in something that, again, like it's really going to help drive that conversation. There's a lot of people already thinking about it, looking for ways that they can kind of be involved. So, being aware of what and when you can kind of speak to at any given time is really valuable for kind of just like, adding to people to support what you're working for.
It's a very good point, because you don't never like to see the tragedies come along, but if you're in a position to be able to support them, because I remember I just joined Game on Aus at the time, and we were doing Fundraise, and I forget the organisation, but it was basically toys for kids that had lost stuff in the bushfires as well. There's always things that will pop up.
Come find me, comedy.
It doesn't have to be.
I'm in the Delahunt theatre.
But once you've sort of chosen a charity, I guess the next step is contacting the charity and working out what you guys can do together to just drive that, and maybe a little bit of promotion on both ends. I know Movember always has a big drive in November.
Right, I'll ask about the 24-hour streams.
But so what kind of things do you guys look for when looking for streaming partners for doing charity streams?
Yeah. Look, we're just about being your authentic self, and I think just talking to the points before about having a connection to cause. We invest in 3 core areas: prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and men's mental health and suicide prevention. So we don't look for anything in particular, but people who are authentic to the cause. We have a really good Discord community that you can get involved in, which is quite active. So again, it's not about looking for anyone in particular, but people who just have that authentic self and connection to the cause.
Nice. And Shane, coming from that sort of gaming background,
8 charities.
do you have things that you can do. Like I know we look for things like overlays, and Tiltify is a big one that people tend to go to. Are you hooked in with things like Tiltify, or do you have your own support where you can just have the donation amount up on the screen for the streamers?
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
He's such a legend,
Tiltify and a
Grant.
bunch of other fundraising platforms that creators love to use to facilitate their fundraising streams. I'll quickly echo Stormie and Jacob said just around one, personal connection to cause is really important. I think that's probably the main one because it's just going to come through. And then finding charities that are going to support you as well. There are a bunch of charities on Tiltify, but there are fewer that
upstairs twice.
really, I suppose, empower their community to do the best fundraising they can do in the world of gaming that really understand. And I think we've got we've already mentioned a couple of great charities that do that work. So I would say trying to find that engaged charity that's going to support you as well, and maybe even highlight the work that you're doing to their community on their socials and that sort of thing. And if you have that personal connection to the cause as well, that really helps. That's not to say that if there's a charity that you really care about that maybe isn't engaged in the gaming community, you can't have an impact, because it's no word of light to say that every dollar counts. So I would still say, number one, fundraise for a charity that you really care about, no matter how engaged they are. And maybe that opens their eyes when you start tagging them on social media. It's like, oh, wow, we've got this really passionate community member fundraising in the gaming space. We never even considered something like that. So that's how, I suppose most charities will get into the gaming space, because while there are a bunch of charities that are engaging it now, it's still a very small percentage in the grand scheme of things.
And so when the streamer contacts you guys, is there support that you can offer in
Yeah, you should be allowed in.
We're talking maybe
Of course you are.
giveaways or promotion on
Why wouldn't you be
your
allowed up?
social media channels and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure, I can go first. We have Cure Cancer's been around for 55 years, but our little sub-brand of Game on Cancer, which has its own website, dedicated channels, and then a Discord like the Movember guys, that's all about engaging the gaming community. And our staff are on social media as well, so we're always on the lookout for being tagged and how we can promote as well. Maybe do like some blog style content, or even have some community members jump on our own streams as well and talk about why they care about the cause. So I think that speaks to just again that different level of support that some charities who are engaged in the gaming space can offer. And then more of the bread and butter stuff, like overlays that really work well, that aren't just a logo packet and something like that, or even some assets that you can download as well. So we have like a great little 30-40 second sort of thank you video that's generic that anyone can have and incorporate into their stream. That's myself or one of our team members speaking directly to the streamer's community as well. So I think it's those little things as well that really help again empower creators to do the best they can.
That's it. Yeah, I remember when I did my Movember stream, there was some hero videos that were around, and they were really great. So I could play them in the lead up to the stream starting, and whenever I had a break, I could put them on. So it wasn't just like a static be right back screen. It was something that could engage the audience and just say, this is what we're here fundraising for. So that's one thing I got from Movember. Is there other things that maybe you guys can do as well?
Yeah, cool. So the space is really new for us. I've known in the last 5-6 years, and we have a great innovation team based out of the UK who are focused on building this whole community. And through that, a new thing that we're doing, I'm not sure if you would have received it, but we're providing safeguard packages to all streamers. So it just equips them, it's a responsibility on our end, but it also equips the streamers, with the tools they might need to support their community, when we're talking about sensitive topics such as prostate cancer and mental health and suicide prevention, just empowering the streamer and their community where they can get help, support each other, flag any things in the comments when they're streaming as well. So that's a new thing that we are focusing on technically.
That's really cool, because like a lot of the streaming community I feel does work with mental health, and that will attract people to your stream and hopefully get them to open up as well. So knowing some resources that you can point them towards if they need more help than you can give, because let's face it, we're not qualified in that regard. So yeah, we're happy to be there and be a conduit for that, but we also need to make sure that they're getting the right help.
I know you go. No, I was just going to say, especially because if we are, as an organisation, encouraging people to start conversations, it's important that then they know how to continue those as well and escalate them when need be. Yeah, from the streamer side, I could definitely vouch for every kind of community I've been a part of when it comes to these charity streams. It's been incredibly supportive from the staff to the other streamers that you also work with as well. Especially if it's your first charity stream, it's also like having these Discord servers and things like that are a great way to get ideas and connect with other people, because it can be quite scary when you're doing your first charity stream. And I'll quickly clarify as well for anyone who doesn't know what Tiltify is. It's a fantastic site to utilise because the money that's getting donated doesn't get sent to you, it gets organised straight to them, which I think is really great. Like you're not touching any of it, and it gets organised in that way. So it's a really great tool to use, and I think it also will give viewers that peace of mind as well, knowing that that's exactly where their money is going. But yeah, definitely if the charity that you are raising money for does have amazing Discord communities and things like that, definitely get amongst it, make yourself known, because everyone that I've been a part of has been so lovely and so supportive and very receptive to ideas and inspiration, I guess. Yeah.
That's cool. That's good. So we contacted the charity. We've got some
I agree,
some
Chris.
ideas and some stuff for our overlays and how we get the money and things like that. So another thing that we do is like rewards on stream. So you've seen up on the screen that we've got behind us here. This is the one I did for Movember back in 2022. So there's just a few little silly things that I put on there just to get people involved. So like they're donating for something and it's just silly fun that you can get there. Like, and particularly I had one for every $30 that got donated, I would flip a coaster. So this was a bar trick that I picked up spending way too much time at a bar. When
I've forgotten what you look like, comedy.
It was basically just flipping a coaster and catching it.
I've been
in the
streams.
back of your fingers. And just something simple like that you can go, cool, well I can do that. And then $30 came in, another $30 came in, you had a second one to it, and then just keep. I think I ended up with 55 coasters at one point. But yeah, and it's just simple things like that. And you can put other things in like unlocking bonus things to do. So like on this one, I had a Baby Yoda Lego set that I bought, and that was at $500 that unlocked that. And there's things like that you can put in. You want to do them, so you don't make the goal too high. You just have it at an attainable bit, so that way people can go, cool, here we go, we can unlock this, we can see it. So that comes in with the planning stages there. For me, other things that came in with the planning stage, like this Movember stream I did was 24 hours. And as my first charity stream, it may have been a little bit ambitious, but things just kind of lined up. In fact, it happened on the launch day of the Xbox Series X, which I got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and at the time my beard was like this really wispy sort of thing, so I got it done up in like little beads, like a Viking thing, and like you can see $1,000 was to cut off the beard, so it was like a literal grab the beads and just snip off. So it was just stuff like that it just kind of lined up really well for me. But it's anything that you want to do. Like giveaways can be a part of it, but this is an example of something that you can do that doesn't have giveaways. So Jake, how did you go setting up that type of stuff for your streams?
For sure, and I'd really like to echo the sentiment that like anything that you can do is a value add. Like, so obviously having the benefit of working for a game company, for our charity streams, I get to leverage the fact that we can kind of like auction off, exclusive tanks or in-game codes or, merchandise and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, like that definitely does, bring in a lot of donations. But we've found consistently when we do sort of charity streams, the donations behind like silly human connection elements are actually driving a lot more of our fundraise. So when we did our stream with Game on Cancer recently, we had our standard silent auction. And I just echo that, like if you have products or giveaways that you can use, don't just use them as giveaways to advertise. Like do put them behind like a tiered unlock, or do like a silent auction or a raffle or something. Yes, having a headset to give away or something like that will bring more people into the stream, but if you're just giving it away for free, you're missing an opportunity to potentially drive more donations. But again, coming back to that point, I think one of the biggest drivers of donations for us during the Game on Cancer stream was we had an exercise past, where basically for a minimum $20 donation, you're buying 20 reps of an exercise that you would specify. And so it's me and the other guys in the Wargaming publishing team. And so we'd have, one of our guys, streaming the game and talking through that and everything. And then we'd have like our fitness camera up in the top corner. And so every time a donation would come in, it would usually be for this fitness activity. And so they would, our viewers would relish in watching a bunch of sweaty gamers really struggle through a bunch of burpees and squat thrusts and stuff like that. So I remember one of the guys I worked with was very confident going into this, being in the Army Reserves. He's like, I've got your number on push-ups, don't you worry about this. And I remember being very tired at the end of that day because I had to do all of the physical activity for my
That was me doing the marathon.
Colleagues.
That was me trying to do the marathon.
To the great satisfaction of the community. And it honestly built that momentum because, one donation would come in, they'd see us exercising and struggling, and then before we would even finish, they'd want to donate again to keep it going.
Yep,
So
I remember that.
You can do, like Jim's saying, that kind of builds up and adds momentum, just keeps people engaged in the stream. Like ultimately you're wanting them to stay around,
comedy.
you're wanting them to
I completely forget what you look like. What are you wearing?
Have to kind of share the message of the charity or the
What are you
cause
wearing,
that you're
comedy?
working for, the more likely you're gonna get somebody to donate. And I think coming back to Stormie's point before about Tiltify and everything like that, ultimately like when we're raising money for a cause, you really want to make it easy for somebody to donate. You want to make them feel confident in donation. So that's why Tiltify is so good, because they don't have to worry about you taking the money and running off with it. It's going straight through to a charity, so there's no issues with that. And the other thing you really want to do that I'd just like to touch on is with stuff like cancer research or mental health. Like if you're just saying you're raising money for mental health or cancer, that's great, but you're very vague in the way, like if I'm selling something and I say like I'm selling something that will protect you from the sun. Like am I selling a hat, am I selling sunglasses, like am I selling an umbrella? These all protect me from the sun, but unless like I get a bit more detail around that, I don't really know what I'm buying. So you do really want to leverage the resources that are provided by these charities to actually speak to what your dollar is going for. And that was a big part of our Blaze Aid charity, is that every $20 we raised basically would build 3 meters of fencing. So throughout the stream, where I was basically, able to say, thanks to your donations, we've just rebuilt 20 kilometers of fencing, or what's the stat for like $1 is an hour?
$75 for an hour of cancer.
There you go. So not $1, a bit more, but and you want to communicate that value, to kind of really share that with someone, so they will have the confidence to know exactly where their money's going to, what it's going to do, that it's a completely safe transaction. It's just going to give your audience more confidence to donate and donate more. And then on top of that, anything that you can do to make them laugh or have a good time while they're doing it is just more reason for them to keep donating.
I'll just jump in and say, the more painful the amounts, the better. I've done like $500 a raw egg, and then $750 it's a raw egg plus tequila. $1,000 tequila and hot sauce.
Jim, didn't you have to shave your eyebrows at one point?
No, that was a donation that we didn't get to.
Oh, yes! Alright, there you go.
Yeah,
Please donate to shave Jim's eyebrows.
Yeah, I'll do it.
How much? How much?
So now, take a donation right now. $1,000 by the end of this video. Shave your eyebrows right here.
Sorry, Stormie, you know all about like hot sauce stuff, don't you?
Yeah. I'll get. Hold on. I'll get to that in a second. I was going to.
I did bring my shrimp cake.
A bit like me, and want everything to be absolutely amazing all the time. Please don't feel like you have to spend money on stuff to do for the incentives either. You could do things without having to spend money, or spend as little as possible. It could even just be writing people's names on a whiteboard to have on display, for a donation. Or it could be, I think at like Big W, there's Beans, Boozled jelly beans, like the really gross ones that are mixed in really, really nice ones. They were a hit in the first Starlight one I did. I ate so many. It was not good. And then what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
is,
comedy.
Despite the fact that I have an Indian background, my tolerance to spice is very, very bad. So a tablespoon of sriracha would actually make me want to be sick, and I did a lot of them this year. And also whipped cream to the face. That was always supposed to be for a baking stream, and I left it on. in my office, and thank you went everywhere on my chair and the floor. But it's just yeah, you got all of them.
Next year, comedy next year.
Yeah, I think you can be really clever with the way that you set up your incentives. Where like don't feel like you have to spend a whole money on like a Lego set or anything. It's really cool if you could do it, go for it. But like little things, like you were talking about with the raw egg. Almost made the appearance in mine, but I winked it up. But yeah, you can get really clever with it. So don't feel like you have to spend a lot to do a lot. And have a good range of different donation amount incentives too.
I don't like the punishment, like those punishment ones.
You want everyone's donation to feel quite special and valued, and it always is regardless. But if you want to give someone that option to do something really fun, there's so many things you can do. Yeah.
I just want to add as well. You know your audience. You know your audience better than anyone else. Play to that. You play to your audience. They'll know what what makes them laugh. So you just be, as I said before, be your authentic self when you're on the stream. I think that's the best way to engage your audience. When it comes to ideas like this, and I actually just want to. I really wanted to hear this a cappella of Ice.
Alright, stop.
I was going to say as well, sorry, very quickly. Also, you can integrate your incentives with whatever game you're playing as well. That's quite fun. Chucking out a weapon if you're playing a shooter, or if you're playing Elden Ring or something, you just sort of stop and stand on the spot for like 10 seconds. Things like that. People love to see a little bit of chaos, so yeah, it doesn't have to be something off stream. You have to do. Try and integrate it with the game too. People love to see you fail. That's what I've learned on my channel. People don't like to see you doing well.
Just on that, a really good tool that people might not be aware of is there's this thing called crowd control. People can, it used to be running on bits through Twitch, but I think they opened it up to channel points as well. And it interacts with your game. Like, I remember when Fall Guys came out, it would do things like just had this big splotch on the screen, so you couldn't see what was going on. And because it started with a whole Mario stream, especially with this tool. So
it's all good, crowds. We'll be around.
With Super Mario World, and we do things like all the
try and get as many as we can for you, mate. Much love to him.
There's a really good one for Minecraft too. Someone kept spawning 30 chickens in the spot, and my house got flooded. So yeah, there's really fun stuff.
Tilt's actually acquired crowd control, so you can attach the donations to.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. There we go. We did learn something.
What I'd like to touch on in the planning stage before we get on to actually doing the stream, and what you should do in there is the length that you want to run the stream for. So I did a 24-hour stream. That was a one and done type deal. Even the Greatest Shade for a Cure wasn't a 24-hour, but a longer stream, and that was a one and done. But I know, Stormie, you've done like a month's worth or a couple of weeks worth of stuff. How did you decide on that sort of length of time?
And I will stress, just do whatever's comfortable for you. 24 hours or even 12 hours is a really long time. I don't know about you guys who also stream, but after 3 hours, I'm ready for bed. I'm just really drained. I just stuck to my usual stream schedule. So as long as I think you're consistent, or I think we'll go into this later, when you are promoting the charity streams that you're doing, and having the dates and the times there, let people know when and where to find you exactly for these special streams. Because if you make more of an event of it, people are like, oh my god, this is going to be a really, you're building up hype. I think Jake said as well, you're building that hype towards this, particular stream or a set stream. So for example, the Starlight ones, I do for the whole month of August, and I just stick to my normal stream. I don't do anything out of the ordinary, unless I wanted to, but don't put that unnecessary pressure on yourself if you don't want to. It could be an incentive that you do a 12-hour stream when you raise X amount of money. But yeah, again, you do what works for you, and then I think you might touch on this later, promoting that on your social media, so own social media channels outside of Twitch, to remind people where and when to find you. Kind of sharing that everywhere is also exciting, and I'm sure that would help when you guys want to promote streamers on your end and raise money for your charity. That's also really helpful too.
Yeah, just before we get on to the promotion sort of side of things as well, I just wanted to throw to Jake quickly. So how did you guys decide the streams that you do? Because I know you do a lot with your community contributors and have regular streams during the week. How did you guys land on what you want to do for your charity streams?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, and the point I kind of wanted to touch on is, like the title of this is how to run a charity stream singular. But I think, like there is a bit of a fixation around doing kind of like a one and done and making it a big event. I don't necessarily think that has to exclusively be the case. Like, yes, it can build up, like, again, as I said, like hype around this particular event. It might draw people to a certain thing, but you've got like Movember obviously runs for a month. Game on Cancer does like a superhero activation that runs for a month. You could effectively like theme your entire month's worth of content, or your entire stream presence for a prolonged period of time, because then if somebody's not on Twitter for a certain day that you're promoting the stream, or if somebody's out of town when you're doing that one singular stream, they're gonna miss the opportunity to engage with it. But if you're engaging with your community over the course of an extended period of time, then you have more time to message, you have more time to make them aware, you have more time for them to actually, find the funds to donate if that is a challenge for somebody who still wants to, be supportive of your cause. So it depends on the nature of what you're doing. So for us, in the context of working with Game on Cancer, we start with the big sort of like announcement event, which was that one stream. It was the longest stream. We had these kind of like donation goals and everything. But then we run an esports league outside of that, and effectively once we did our singular stream, we kind of like threw the messaging and our community towards the esports league, which then generated donations, and we had casters talking about the charitable cause week in, week out, building up to our LAN finals, which then all proceeds from the tickets went towards that particular cause.
Maybe not during
really
the charity battle.
Because we had so many people and so many donations coming in, after that big one and done kind of stream. So I think we ended up raising like an extra couple of grand for Game on Cancer, like after the stream, and it didn't necessarily mean that every stream that we did on our channel afterwards was a charity stream. We may have just kept the Nightbot like auto message with the exclamation mark.
I still can't work out which one.
By the way, if you're like, please do that. Like, chuck a Nightbot command exclamation mark donate. Like, you don't want to make it hard for your community to have to Google the link to donate, or find Tiltify, or be worried that they're going to the wrong place. Make it come up in the chat. Make it auto reappear. Make it very easy for your community to do this. So that was basically how we run that. We share that with, like you said, Jim, our community contributors. So our broader network of players would chuck this link in their channel as well. We gave them some bonus codes which they could incentivize donations with. So yeah, I think it definitely depends on the thing. Like, if it is a one specific day kind of event, then by all means lean into that. But there are so many causes now which are the month of this or a week of this, and I think there is a lot of value in actually trying to extend that messaging, because there's a good chance that you won't be able to kind of get the attention of your entire community for one particular activation. So keep it going. You don't have to shave your head or your eyebrows for every single stream, but if you're just keeping that donation goal up on the stream and an easy link to access, then it's still raising more money. Even an extra $75 raises an extra hour of cancer research or something like that. So keep it going.
I'll just say as well, like, you don't have to like set a month at the very beginning. Like, maybe set a week, and if you enjoy it, you can always extend it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't have to commit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Something Jake said as well, I just want to quickly jump on, because obviously not everyone might be able to be in a position to donate and things like that. I really love to stress to people.
We'll play later.
I feel like you have to, because I know sometimes when we're streaming through like a whole event or stream, and sometimes people that's like, I can't help, like, just let them know their presence, like being there. So as corny like as it may sound, like them being there to support the stream that you're doing, or even sharing that stream around with their friends, like that all helps as well.
Can you get your password
Yeah.
banned?
You can't donate, like retweet or something,
Yeah.
promote the stream, or post that stream or something like that. Like,
We
that's
can't host anymore.
Like, it's a great thing to
I
do.
think it's just recognizing every community member of your community, and knowing that whether it doesn't matter how much they donate, or if they can't donate, they're still incredibly valued, and that that is the truth. I think sometimes some people can feel like maybe a little left behind or like not part of the action, but just I think it's just a reminder they are still a valued community.
So we touched a little bit on promotion there. We'd like to open this up to our charities here. What's some of the more interesting promotion stuff that you've seen people do? Like I know when I did my Greater Shave for a Cure thing, I did a couple of videos leading up and like I'm walking in to get my head shaved and did a video and coming out I did too, but made sure I had the camera down so you couldn't see my head yet and stuff like that, just to build that hype for the stream. So yeah, what sort of stuff have you guys seen?
Where are you, comedy? Hey, you like directly.
I can jump in, yeah, there's plenty of
Try and make the so many people on the phone. Can't tell which one you are.
Yeah, that's right. Promoting it's like what Jake mentioned around. You want to make sure that your community knows when they can tune in and when they can participate and support your charity stream. So any way you can build hype in a unique way. We spoke about like theming the charity streams or making it a bit more special than maybe your regular stream schedule is great. Leaning into the campaigns that run from different charities as well is always good because you can ride that hype, you can join the community on Discord, you can get talking to other streamers and maybe they can help promote what you're doing as well. And then just coming up with like some cool graphics or a cool hashtag as well, making sure always you're tagging the charity so they can promote your schedules as well. So that's not to say that you need to be the best graphics artist, like just throw it into Word and make something like cringy but funny, just like get really creative with it. So yeah, I think there are so many examples. I can probably pull out of that right now, but yeah, what about you guys?
I think just building on what you just said, if you can lean into an event that the charity already runs. So for Movember, obviously we run our big campaign in November, but we're actually a year-round charity, so we encourage streamers to stream at different events throughout the year. It's actually a really great
we were winging it too. We had no idea where we were going. We got lost.
Cancer Awareness Month, even Father's Day, a few streamers have tapped into. And again, it builds the point of knowing your audience. If you can tap into
We snuck in via one of the side doors. We didn't line up. We didn't go through security or nothing.
On a day or a specific area.
Nobody's checked our passes.
That already has some hype. You can really leverage on it as well.
In fact, that's how we
You
got
can always
into
be
it.
creative in writing things, like not just on social media, Discord as well. I will say one thing that worked really well for our last campaign is encouraging streamers to fundraise as part of a team. So if you're a part of the stream team, maybe trying to encourage other team members to join. And I think with our last campaign, like 70%
I'll release the VOD later of it.
Were from teams as well. So individuals are doing amazing work, but it's when people were able to raid and host one another and create this team effort. All together we raised like $5,000 or $7,000. Like that's amazing. So,
Or even in our communities. So like we quite often have a Movember team in the Goa Discord that we get on board and just our members, and they do the walking, they do the mow growing, they do all sorts of things that we can contribute towards that, and then they're also going out to their contacts as well to see what we can fundraise there. So you can make it a competition almost in your community to help fundraise our money. Another thing I want to say, because I'm guilty of this sometimes, I tend to keep my streaming life and my day-to-day life a little bit separate. But let me tell you, most of my donations came from family members when I did my stream. So don't be afraid to share it on not just your branded social media stuff, but also through your own personal stuff as well. Because the donations can come from anywhere, and people love seeing it. Like, I think I give the $1,500 for the Movember stream, but I know 500 of that came from one aunt that had particularly wanted to support mental health stuff. So it can go anywhere. So don't be afraid to share it around everywhere.
I will say, friends and family are usually the ones who want to see you do the painful incentives as well. So
the amount of people I had to donate to get rid of my beard was staggering. Nobody like that. I'll see if I can.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, 3 of my mates donated $100 each to see me do the 3 wax strips off my leg. They were there at minute 1 from the get-go.
Yeah, last year, at this time last year, my hair was all the way down to pretty much where my hips were. It's really long, and I said if we raised $3,000, I would chop it. And literally, I couldn't grab my hair; it was that short, just because wanted to see me cut. I hadn't had my hair short like this since I was like 12 or something. Yeah, you can get pretty confident. I want to see your beard.
Oh, hang on.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it was like a really wispy beard. Luckily, it wasn't like recent beautiful beard out here. But yeah, so it was pretty easy to get into those little braids there. But it's just little things like that you can do that just make
Yeah,
it
channel
fun.
points are valid, but you're gonna have to tell me,
Because
'cause I can't see them.
So Viking beard kind of fit it. But let's move on.
Just tell me what it is.
And really, that's where the meat and potatoes of organising it all will be. Because
Also, I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna say it's a donation.
Unless we're eating hot sauce, which I definitely do not want to do. So what's some of the things, Jay, that you guys would do during the stream to keep it going? Because
I have a funny feeling it's gonna be drop and give me turn around.
having a plan for what you're doing is great, but
No, I can't see them. I can't get them on my phone for some reason. But yeah, if you tell me what they are.
that's the bread and butter.
For sure, and Shane and I were chatting about this when we were talking about what we were going to say on this panel, and I think point of difference is such an important thing. Like straight away, if somebody's coming into your stream or your activation and your fundraising, you want them to know in 1 second that you're doing something different. Like I think
Using
there is
slums.
a bit of a mindset, with influencers or creators once they hit a certain level, or once they think they hit a certain level, that it's like it's my way or the highway. I've got my very particular stream set up, and nobody's going to change that for anything. So doing something just like chucking in a logo in the bottom corner or something, you're promoting it, but you're not really like selling it. Like you want to make sure.
Exclamation mark, donate, Cal, and I'll let you do it.
Stream, if they're a regular, if they're a first-time viewer, they know something's up. So what we would do with our charity streams is we typically run a silent auction, which is a really great way to kind of like incentivize donations throughout the day. Basically,
Use the
what we did
nine-ball one.
was we set up a Google form where people could just like pick a lot item. It was like a certain tank or merchandise, and then they would do a bid. We'd still have to vet it at the end of the day, but thanks to some Excel wizards in my team, we're able to basically set up this sheet that would show like live bids coming through and what was like the top bid for each item and everything, so people could track that throughout the day. I think having like your fundraising goal is really important. It was touched on before, but like we're part of the gaming community here. You've all
Alright,
watched
I'm
streams,
gonna
you've
have to
all
look
seen
out for
people
Prism.
donate bits just so they can get a shout out on stream, or donate some insane amount of money just
Yeah, some
so the streamer will read their message. We are very generous
I'm not
community,
keen for
and
that trigger.
sometimes it's all we want is just like a thanks or something like that. So make sure
I'm shaking.
your donations are coming through. If you can do like a donators section as well, and these are assets that are pretty easy to find. Like I believe you can get them through Game of Cancer, or find them pretty easily through sort of like creator communities or asset websites and stuff like that. So like the only thing I would stress is make sure that your chat, your stream layout is very different. You're speaking to the messaging regularly. Like the last thing you want to do is have somebody watching for an hour, you're doing a normal stream, and then at the end of that hour you go, oh yeah, so our donation goals are this, or don't forget to donate or something, and that person's been there for 15, 20, 30 minutes and go, oh, this is a charity show, I didn't even realize, how do I donate? Like you want them to know straight away, you want them to be able to access any information they need straight away. Just
Alright, what do you want? Do you want star jumps or push-ups?
Your normal setup.
And like say, leveraging new tools like Nightbot or whatever bot you're using, because Nightbot can do timed messages as well.
Yep.
So every 15 minutes I have popping up, here's a donation link, donate to us. And
Yeah, if you've got a command as well, I think we were talking about commands before. I put that command in
You want me to do it now?
on the stream as well, so people can see, oh yeah, like the link is right there in the title, it's easy to find and locate, instead of going, is it donate tree or whatever, I don't know, like you want to make it really
They want me to do star jumps. King Cow donated 25 plays.
And that might be really cool too, like, don't ask me how, but I know you can do this. We've done it before where we had like exclamation mark facts, and then we had like a bevy of different facts around cancer research. So you type it into chat and then a random facts for the community to learn about. So yeah, it's not just about
tell you?
I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
So I just got a donation.
Oh no!
8, 9, 10. Yeah, thanks for that, Cal. Are you okay, by the way, everyone?
Jazz 199, is that the Twitch?
Yep.
That's Fundraise for
There we go, peeps. Yeah, are you okay? That was for $25. Thanks, Cal. Anyway, $25.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh. You gonna match as well? Alright.
Do I enter my card details or how are we doing?
I'll send you the link. I'll give you the QR code, but alright then, I'll do it.
So $25 donation to Game on Camp, what's that? That's 20 minutes?
Alright, I'll do push-ups then.
So,
One-handed.
Oh. Oh, no.
Why did we get Jazz on this?
Oh, there we go. There we go, thank you. I'll speak to you after. There you go, that's how you do it. Embarrass yourself.
So just some other things that I think are quite handy to do during these streams, because we talked about PAX Command and learning about the charity, but talking to people as well. Like when I did the 24-hour Movember stream, I had Sam Crawford, I think, on and had a
Thanks for the donut, Cal.
Probably didn't choose the best time because I was about 18 hours into the stream, so I think I went a little loopy, but even stuff like the Greatest Shade for a Cure, I got my mum and my dad in to just talk about their journey, because I also felt that it was important to talk to a spouse that had gone through the cancer journey with mum and how it affected them as well. So I think stuff like that during this stream, once again, continues to raise awareness about where the money's going and why it's important.
absolutely. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, if the charity that you're raising money for has assets for you to use, particularly for these charity streams,
Thanks for the follow.
Fantastic, and kind of going off what you guys were saying before about the way that the stream looks. I think if you change up your stream, your usual stream setup in the way of overlays and stuff to a different theme or different type, like you can find some really cool, free creator assets like online. Then people are like, oh, it looks different. Like, what's going on? I think that's also a really great way to add to it as well.
And just adding to that, Shane is an asset that you can use for your stream. Reach out to these. Like he came on, he was chatting to us. I'm sure the Movember guys would do the same thing as well. Like it adds legitimacy, authenticity. They can speak more to the facts and the details again. Like you can kind of get two birds with one stone. Like when we did our bushfire stream, we had one of our community members come in. He was quite a well-known moderator, but he was also a volunteer for the Queensland Rural Fire Service. So he was actually working and on the front lines, and he was able to speak to that from a first-person perspective, but also from a community perspective. So as Jim said, family members with a personal connection. Leverage the charities that are more than willing to.
We might have to go soon because we're going to try to get to another one.
People are valuable assets, and stories that your community can share are just as valuable to differentiate your stream as your your donation counter or your streaming stream.
I was going to say, gladly we'll play an hour of Fall Guys still.
Let's do it.
Cool, so we've done the planning, which, like I said, that's where the bulky work is going to take place there. We've done the stream. Now we're after the stream. And this is, I feel, is quite important as well. So it's letting your community know how much you've raised, even a little bit of maybe video. So like this video here, we don't have sound, but it was just a few little stills about,
He's gone.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. I've had a few.
Oh.
My parents taught me what life was about. So I go up the top, they want to be about. They said my friends were just another movie vibe, and I should get a haircut and get a real job.
So yeah, it's just sometimes silly afterwards to like show what you've done as well, and you can post your donation links in with it, because just because the stream's open doesn't mean that you have to stop taking donations. Those will stay open for as long as you like. So yeah, just stuff like that. Let your community know how you go. Let people who've donated know how you've gone as well. So Jake, how did you guys report on that sort of stuff to your community?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways. Obviously, we're able to leverage our game portal and share the specific information, on that. We shared it on our social media, our Twitter, and everything. Like, I think
do you have an Instagram?
Like, don't let the trail go cold at the end. Like, as we were talking about before, a lot of the 90% of the incentive for somebody to donate to a stream, whether it's a charity stream or not, may just be getting a shout out and their name read out or their name read out on screen. So, to finish your charity stream or your charity activation and not celebrate the total amount raised,
to say thanks for the donation.
That's a big step that can be overlooked. And then as Jim says, that's no reason to stop promoting. So when we did it for Game on Cancer, we kind of shared a big spiel around how much we raised for that specific stream, clips from the stream as
He says
well,
on there can count
or
anyone.
something that you can speak to. But then as a follow-on, we said, if you miss the opportunity to donate, you can hit up our stream at any time. You can find the links there. Listen to, it was a good way to continue plugging your stream as well. We were able to continue to speak to our esports league where you could donate, buy a ticket for the land final where your proceeds would go to charity. There is no reason why it should stop at the when you stop, really.
That's great. So, are there any last thoughts that we've got from the panel before we throw the floor open to questions? Because we've gone a little bit into the question time, but that's okay. But any final thoughts that you guys have got?
We haven't really touched upon it, but as well, but there are tons of gaming brands out there that like to support charity streams. So if you have relationships with them, if you're a Destiny player and you're in contact with the Destiny team locally, reach out to them, or Assassin's Creed, reach out to them, reach out to Ubisoft. If they don't respond, then tell me, because I'll just tell my former colleagues, hey, respond. They're always willing to donate codes and merch and that sort of thing. So another good way to help promote the stream and get out there and get those incentives.
And I think, just adding to that, there are multiple tiers, there are multiple ways to do that. So for sure, hit up the brands directly, see if you can leverage a code or something like that. You may not be able to get a response or something. That's no big deal. Do some guerrilla marketing and smash their reply on every single post to promote your stream, or go one tier down. If you can't, engage a brand directly, you might be able to engage one of the influencers, that works with that brand pretty consistently. They may have some codes or some goods that they can participate, or at least just promote your stream through their channels. And then again, like we were saying before, there's another tier down from that. If you can't, if you don't have any of those high profile influencer connections, just reach out to a whole bunch of streamers that play that game or are incentivized in that cause. See if you can network, set up a raid train or something. There are so many different ways that you can engage your favorite brand, your favorite game, beyond just sliding into their DMs on Twitter and hoping for a quick reply or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our taglines at Movember is just having fun and doing good. And I think just have fun with it. Just have fun. Bring your authentic self. And again, if you ever need any support or any resources or anything at all, reach out to the charities. They're more than willing to help.
I was going to say as well, it is no word of lie to say that every dollar counts. It's if you're, I might only be able to raise $100, then guarantee you there's probably 1,000 others that feel the same way. And then if you all raise $100, and that's $100,000 towards the cause. For us, that's funding a researcher for an entire year. Massive stuff. So don't be too worried about the kind of impact that your charity fundraising can have, because it all really helps.
But just doing it, even if you're not even if you're just raising $10, $1, even if you don't raise any money, you have spent a couple of hours out of your day, the presence of your social media, advocating for a cause that you believe in, and ultimately that is such awareness is half of the battle. You know what I mean? So even if you do a 24-hour stream and you raise $2 or something like that, you have still offered a valuable service to that community, that cause, in the sheer virtue of the fact that you're willing to promote it, talk about it, and do what you can.
You might have started a conversation that otherwise wouldn't have been had.
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. If you are doing a raffle or giveaway of some sort, it's like a bit of a boring but important legal thing. Just make sure you're checking the raffle kind of terms in your state, because it does vary place to place. So I think in WA, if you're giving away something that's over like $200 and you're raffling, I think you might just have to get in touch with, the department. Yeah, it's the gaming. Yeah. So make sure you do that, just to make sure everything's going on smoothly. You don't want to run into any trouble. Yeah. And then basically what you guys said as well. It doesn't matter how much you raise, and again, it's like it sounds corny, but like any amount you raise does make a difference either way, whether it's $1 or $2. And if you don't raise anything, that awareness that you're making of that charity and organisation is so valuable. And if
So
you
about to
are
head
starting
soon.
to plan your first charity stream, don't know where to start, a bit nervous, reach out to your mates. If you don't have any mates that are streaming, you can always, I'm sure you can chat with anyone else. You can come say hi. Happy to help in any way, and if you're a bit nervous and stuff, maybe organise some team ups with some games with some friends. That's always a surefire way for chaos and a bit of fun. You like the game, like as we know from this weekend, so many people here. The gaming community is absolutely incredible and huge, and can sometimes be quite overwhelming. So just know you've got a lot of good people around you who are willing to help in any way they can.
And donations are tax deductible.
Yes. So,
Hooligan, let's go, baby.
Are we doing mics or just?
No, mics.
We have a mic, roving mic. Thank you.
Oh, look out.
I'll just start anyway. You've spoken a lot about. Is it on?
No.
You've spoken a lot about how streamers can actually reach out to charities in order to try and support their cause. Do you have any advice for charities who are actually looking to attract streamers to try and get a charity stream and support themselves going?
Yeah, I can speak to that one. That's my job.
If it's a charity that's like not as large as yours and doesn't have someone in your position who is directly focused on streaming as.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And also, I've been with Cure Cancer a year now. I've had about 6 or 7 different charities hitting up on LinkedIn just asking what do I do and how can they get involved. It is to do it to the extent where
Thanks, Hooligan.
Subbrain, that sort of resource heavy. We have 2 full-time team members that do that. But I will say,
I'll get a shout out for you soon.
Sign up your charity to
Thanks, dude.
Tiltify and then just have
Just in a
processes
panel
can
at
be
the moment.
selected as a charity for people to start supporting. And then from there, I think it's about making sure that you supply resources and tools for streamers that the others aren't, and it's trying to stand out that way as well. There are a bunch of great agencies that can engage streamers and content creators locally, and they're really good about I suppose creating a fee structure that's going to work for a non-for-profit. So you could use it as like a test and learn to get into the space and just see how it works. So there's it can be tough because more and more charities are entering the space. Like any other industry, it's becoming competitive, and so there's still a couple of things you can do to stand out. But I think first and foremost, you just have to have a presence within the gaming community. Go where they are, have a Discord, have social channels, and speak to them on Twitter. Like, don't even bother with Facebook. Like, no games on Facebook really. That being where they are.
That's a great answer.
We got another question for this gentleman in the coat down here.
Thanks. This is for the charity guys. We've run a charity stream for probably the last 3 or 4 years and wildly exceeded our expectations pretty much every time. We're in the planning phase for our next one and we're beginning to feel a little bit of fatigue in terms of being able to meet those expectations again and reaching out to sort of the same circles in our community for donations. Is there any advice you have on sort of, it's only an annual event, so it may not be that big a deal, but for making those expectations a little bit more realistic and overcoming some of that donation fatigue?
I was going to say not beyond the streaming though, this is a common thing. Fundraising is fundraising fatigue and asking the same people to, dig into their pockets. My personal advice that we kind of give our fundraisers at Movember is just, you can do something quirky and fun and new that perhaps you haven't done, and also no idea is silly and no idea is too small or too big. People at Movember fundraise doing crazy things. I know it's grow and mow, but we have this thing called Mow Your Own Way, and it's where we say that choose an adventure that suits you. So I know that's very broad, but maybe choose a new way that you haven't done, and an adventure that perhaps people wouldn't typically see on streaming sites.
Yes.
Any ideas, Julian?
I'll
that
give
you've seen?
a personal example. You probably can't see, but I have tooth gems, right? I have these gold tooth gems. And for my fundraising thing this year is if I reach a certain amount, I'm going to plaster on my two front teeth in gold, just MO, and just wear that for the month. And it's just wacky ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't grow a mustache.
If you're looking to attract new audiences as well, like if you have a creator or community people that haven't featured before, can you invite them in as guests and get them to attract their community also? I think just getting creative as well. But I became a different story maybe, like you've done a lot of charity streams, so how do you keep it fresh and different, I suppose?
I think it's finding what is your strength in terms of actually in the streaming side itself. I think something that's really, as a streamer, that I've found very valuable working with other charities in this is having that kind of relationship of collaboration as well. If you can provide those people with assets, logos, videos, prompts that say, you say before X amount will allow this charity to do X thing. Giving those tools and resources readily available and easily available is so beneficial. Because then the creative flair that the streamers can have with it is so vital. I think in terms of keeping it fresh, I take inspiration from some of the people that I love to watch, whether that might be also mainly on Twitch, and just, I don't know,
Sneaky
being
baby.
inspired by that, but then
What's
trying
up,
to put
baby?
my own spin on it that works for me personally. I know that might not necessarily answer your question, in terms of the actual organisation part of itself, but if you are working with those streamers, I think it's it could be very overlooked, but just having those resources and the active relationship with people that you're working with who are doing those streams.
We're about to go from this panel to another panel. But yeah, we're just at PAX.
Well, I think that's probably time for one more question. Okay, cool. We'll go one more. Yeah, that gentleman there.
Thank you. So, for game developers who are looking to get involved with, these events, such as offering keys or submitting games or offering sponsorships, that type of thing, what's the best way to reach out? What's the best way to get involved or otherwise create your own events to support similar?
Just to clarify, so is this from a game developer's perspective?
Yes.
So again, I would hit up if you're just establishing yourself as a game developer or as a brand of game, and you don't feel like you have the audience or the means to promote these effectively, reach out to these guys. Let them advertise them for you on your behalf, or I don't know of an influencer in any universe that would not take free promotional codes or some merchandise that they could promote on their streams.
Visit a bunch of panels at this
identify
gaming
some of the
convention.
streamers that you believe
And then we're streaming in 2
your
hours'
game
time
would align with, and say,
at
hey,
one of the
we're a
booths.
new game. We'd love to start engaging. The influencer space, the charity space. If you'd like, we've got some codes that we can raffle off. At an entry level, that's a lot of guerrilla marketing. But as you build that network, then you start to build your own momentum, and you can create your own seasonal events where, once you reach a certain point, you'll have charities or influencers coming back to you saying, hey, I know that you're a game that's quite heavily associated with charity. I know it's a key pillar of your business, your team ethos, and I'd love to collaborate with you on that. So I think establishing yourself as a game that actually wants to work with charity and wants to leverage their community for charitable causes will have quite a positive follow-on effect. And after a year or so of just kind of doing some of your own hustling at the Twitch level, at the sliding into the Twitter DMs level, then you will start to create that awareness where people will come back to you and engage with you.
I also there are some cool things you can do with charities as well. Like we had a developer from Brazil actually releasing a game in May called Delahunt. It was kind of like a small indie title, very Souls-like. They were trying to promote it, so they came to us and said, "Hey, can we do something?" I said, "Yeah, let's play the game like the day of launch. You guys come on the stream. We'll do like a first playthrough and learn, and you can tell our audience about the game." And we were giving away codes for people who donated. So and then they matched the donations from those donations as well. So there's some really cool stuff you can do with charities directly.
It could be your release campaign. Like you could reveal different elements of the game or a new trailer or new content behind gated donations. Like $1,000 will get you a first look at the trailer. $2,000 will get you like I'll play through the next level or something like that. $3,000 I'll just give away a whole bunch of codes. Like there's like maybe we are ultimately here to support charitable causes, but it's a relationship of mutual benefit. These activations can work for you in promoting your stream, your brand,
That's awesome,
your
sneaky.
event, so don't shy away from that.
We've a few years ago we even did a skin we partnered with Rust, which is one of my favorite games, Brutal. And one of the skins was just a mustache. And that mustache, whoever bought that, they went with them. So there's so many different ways you guys can get involved with.
Comedy, are you going to come with us to the next one?
With charities.
I think that's about all the time we've got for today. Thank you everybody for coming to watch. Thank you to all our panelists for coming along and having a chat. Love hearing it from both the streaming and the charity perspective, seeing what we can do, and I hope
It's AM.
we can come away with some good information that you can take back to your own charity streams and take back to your own charities as well. But yeah, I know myself, I'm going to be floating around PAX all weekend, so if you've got any other questions, feel free to come up to me and have a chat. I'm sure if anybody else here would love to answer questions as well.
Thank you.